What up, meatheads? It's Travis, American Butcher, and this is the Meat Block Podcast, the weekly podcast by butchers for everyone. And this week, when I say by, I don't know if you could hear that. That's not Milo for a change. That is Max, our newest puppy, who is probably going to have to go out and go pee in the next 10 minutes because he's a little dog with a little bladder and he's drinking all the waters. And he also just stepped all over my intro. So once again, this is Travis, American Butcher. This is the Meat Block Podcast, the weekly podcast by butchers for everyone. This week, when I mean by butchers, I mean by butchers. I went to the first annual gathering of the butchers. Now, it's not like the gathering, like people in the Midwest when they drink Fuego and wear makeup. This was way better. Yes, it was amazing, even though Shaggy Tube Dope wasn't there. Anyway, intro.
Good cutting enhances the quality of good meat. Poor cutting results in an inferior piece of meat, regardless of quality.
So about a month ago, I was scrolling through Instagram, and I'm friends with some butchers on there. I don't know if you guys know, I have an Instagram page at American Butcher, and I came across the English butcher, who actually lives in Seattle, and we've had correspondence back and forth. And his actual real name is Kevin Smith, not to be confused with the creator of Jay and Silent Bob and Chasing Amy. I would actually say that I enjoy this Kevin Smith way more, the British Seattle version. And he posted a post that said the first annual gathering of the butchers, a 5-course meal created by Seattle's best butchers. And then right there, I was like, well, obviously I'm not included on this because I live, 30 minutes outside the city, and I'm Seattle adjacent, so I'll let that. That's understandable in the game of semantics and whatnot, but I'm joking. And it said, from the Shambles, Batu, the Butcher's Table, Beast and Clover, Central Smoke, and Salt Blade. And I've heard of all these places and being in the Pacific Northwest, and I knew some of these butchers and met them previously, and it just was super intriguing. And it sounded amazing. And I've joked in the past that said, like, all chefs want to be butchers and no butchers want to be chefs. But I met some butchers, and there were some butchers on this event who fucking schooled it in the art of culinary. So back to the post, had a little back and forth with Kevin, and I got invited to this event, and I was like, well, that's awesome. I'll bring my digital recorder. And as I'm, telling my wife about it, what she says, like, oh, why didn't you tell me when you first found out? I did. You forgot. She's like, oh, by the way, why don't you just swing down to Ravendale and pick up a hot water heater? And that wasn't sweet. So I did that before this dinner, and I got there early, and I had the amazing chance to get some quality audio with some of the butchers. And hearing these gentlemen and these butchers and these chefs talk, I felt like my imposter syndrome kicked in, and I got real awkward, because I don't know the culinary aspect. I've never worked in a kitchen, never worked on a line. The closest thing to it is I worked at Foster Freeze for a while, and it was interesting, I guess. I don't know what I'm saying. I'll just play the audio. How's that? So in this piece of audio, you're going to hear from Kevin Smith. He's going to be the gentleman with the English accent, and he is from The Butcher's Table and Beast and Clover. And you're also going to be hearing from Mike Wish. Now, Mike, if you're listening to this, I don't know if you heard me mention that I'm severely dyslexic. So we're just going to say Mike from Central Smoke, Wishner Hunts. Yes. And then Scott Johnson from The Shambles. And just how small this industry is Scott Johnson ended up doing working in New York with one of my teammates for the American team, Brian Mayer, and it's just, interesting connections. And Kevin Smith worked with David, who's part of the Meat Block podcast, and I ended up sitting next to Jeff, a farmer who owns a organic mobile sheep processing USDA slaughter unit that David used to work for, and Mike ended up buying his lamb, which was actually a ram, from Jeff for his course of the meal. So that's just how crazy and connections, and that's why it always pays to be nice and like not a dick to people, because this industry is surprisingly small, and it's just not cool to be a dick. Nobody likes that. Get out of here. So I set my digital recorder up on a meat trolley, hit record, and this is what it sounds like when some of the best butchers are, talking shop or just just whatever.
Kind of like a fun element of adding one of those British Sunday roast almost, like Yorkshire puddings and roast duck kind of, but...
Is the fat in the batter, or is it just?
No, it's just eggs.
It's
just eggs. It's just on the griddle. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what was the inspiration or the conversation, I guess, to do this dinner?
So, Seamus, the guy, the head chef here, he's not here at the minute. He'll be over later. He wanted to put together some butchers from Seattle who. Hopefully doing some cool stuff, and he reached out to me and to Mike and to Tom, and we're just like really super happy to do it, because I don't really consider myself to be one of the best butchers in Seattle. That's for sure. I mean, I just do what I do, and I like it, and just having fun, So yeah, it's just like really an honour to be asked to come and cook with Mike, who I massively respect. Tom's killing it at Plateau, and it's just nice to be asked. Yeah. I think the hard part at the beginning was getting everyone in the room together, and we all eventually met, and it's just like, what do you want to cook? And he wants to get a whole ram, and you got a whole goat, and I was like,
I had no clue though. Everyone had like ideas when they rolled in. I was like, I had no ideas. I was like, all right, I know a farmer that has he does like a couple ram a year, right? Yeah. So I was like, I'll do ram. That sounds crazy.
No one did a pork dish.
No one did a pork dish.
Yeah.
Shocking.
But that's the thing, is you sit back, hear what everyone else is going to do, and be like, then I'll fill in this gap.
Right.
Yeah.
That could be good.
And I went with duck. This is something duck is just something I love, and I think it's duck or rabbit I was going to do. And this is just a fun dish that I'll be kind of been doing for the last 4 years now. I just elevated it. So these are waffles, but they're like Yorkshire puddings, which is a really English thing, and normally they puff up and they're like that. But instead of doing it in the normal mould, I just did them in a waffle. So they're really savoury, and then you've got like a crispy piece of duck on this with a duck sauce, and there's all fermented blueberries and stuff in it, and you've got like a consomme on the side. So it's just it's utilising the whole thing, utilising that whole animal, but it's not quite a cow or a pig or whatever, it's just a small duck, but yeah, it's I think it's a fun dish as well.
Yeah. And I think duck is often underrepresented in the culinary experience.
Right.
And then, before I forget, let's just, for people who are listening to this, if you guys just want to say who you are, where they can find you, and where you work, just so we get that done.
Sure. I'm Kevin Smith, and I'm the butcher at the Butcher's Table, but also opening my own butcher shop up in hopefully July to October up in Ballard, Beast and Cleaver. We're a whole animal shop with a full kitchen put in, 1,100 square feet, so it's quite small, but it's going to be great. I'm really excited to do it. Got some people lined up to work for me as well.
And it's going to be a shop plus a dining experience?
It's got 10 seats in it, so it's 90% whole animal butchery, the sausages, pâtés, terrines, pastries, all that sort of stuff. That's what I love to do. And we'll be doing like fine dining stuff once a week, once a month.
Okay.
Hopefully people like Mike are going to come up and cook whatever the hell they want.
We're going to catch all the Larson's Bakery crowd too.
It's
the big Swedish bakery in town. So
we're right next to a bakery and a fishmonger, and then there'll be us. So we got a.
It's going to be like a one block, one stop.
Yeah, we got a really cool location, that's it. It's just kind of having fun and doing what I do with it. Yeah.
Awesome. My name is Mike Wisenhunt. I work at Central Smoke, which is in the CDE part of Seattle, and we do like barbecued meats with kind of an Asian flair, and try to just do some fun food and fun sides to go with some great smoked meats, and we do everything from smoked oysters to smoked brisket. So it's not just the classic ribs and brisket, but there's some other good smoky things in there.
Yeah, well, you gotta have oysters in the city.
Yeah, smoked duck breast, pastrami, whatever we can get our hands on. I'm trying to change what's going on with barbecue for Seattle, make it more Seattle friendly.
Yeah, because with the Pacific Northwest, it's not really like a staple for like barbecue. You have all these, like when someone says they like barbecue, you say what kind? Memphis, like start naming off cities, and Seattle's not on there.
No,
it should be.
Not yet. It shouldn't be yet.
Okay.
It's getting there. We're getting there.
Okay.
Hopefully I can get it there.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm Scott Johnson. Work at the Shambles, and I'm going to be here for a while since I happen in place. Got a charcuterie program. We're doing whole animal, trying to build wholesale, trying to build retail.
Yeah.
It's really exciting stuff. I really like working with Seamus.
And then, so you're responsible for that beautiful display behind that door. What's the background that got you to doing that?
I was working in a restaurant that got a pig every week, and that became my favorite part of the week. And I was on the East Coast at the time, and I went down to Marlowe and Daughters and got a job there, and bounced around in a couple other shops, and made my way back over here, and just kind of stumbled upon this place.
Okay. And how many? What do you have hanging, and what can people expect to find in your case here? The project that you got going on.
Variety of isolated cured mussels. We're making prosciutto. We're making lamb prosciutto. We've got copas. We've got culatello. Doing a wide variety of salami.
And then one of the unique things is people who are listening to this. There's a case, and there's also a bar, which is awesome.
It's great. People will just be having a good time out there. They'll hang out around the case. I've got a little doorbell back here. It lets me know to come out and talk to them, and everybody just has a lot of fun trying new things.
Yeah. And then this is the first annual, and with that being said, it's projected to be multiple. Will it always be at this location, or will it rotate, or do you guys have any ideas as far as that?
Well, the anyone has any ideas.
I just got through the first one.
Honestly, I was impressed with the community of butchers out here. It's something that on the East Coast, I found that it was more like, oh, you're from this shop, like that shop sucks. And over here, it's kind of like, oh, you have a different style than me. Let me see what your style's like. And,
I think that's the most important thing about this dinner here. Is like, because it's so easy to hate on what other people are doing. You know, like so many people do hate on that. Oh, they're not doing it this way. They're not doing it that way. I mean,
like what I've noticed a lot with butchers is they get the like the Dunning-Kruger effect, where it's like they start. No one's ever told them they're wrong, and then like they see something that's slightly different than the way they've done, then they assume it's wrong, and it's just like and like it's easy to be negative and it's easy to shit on people. That's why I rarely use Facebook. It's a terrible place. But no, like Seattle is very welcoming with this community. You go up even like north where we are, my company, we have partnership. The local cut and wraps will, during seasonal work, people will work at multiple places, to just get their hours in. And like when I was working in LA, it's very much like, oh, you work at that shop, or like, But I'd love to see the community that Seattle has kind of spread into, but it's very much think locally, so you gotta do what you can here, and then hopefully other cities and other spots do the same.
But it's nice like that the Shambles put this together, and with my shop opening up and that there's going to be some friendly competition, but it's not going to be like he's doing a shit job or you guys are terrible or whatever. It's like I want to work together. That's what I think this whole dinner is about: is working together with and not hating on each other. This is what it is for me anyway. Yeah.
So that was just all us hanging around, and then Tom came into the room, and so I'm introducing Tom from Batu. Tom is someone I met 3 years ago, and just to put a timeline on how long I've known him, just like I met him when I worked up north near the border, when I was doing a mobile slaughter unit and cut and wrap, and then I was also the delivery guy, and I was working with my wife, and Harrison was conceived, but he was not a walking, talking, cute little boy who just celebrated his 3rd birthday. So Tom has known me since Harrison was before he was born, and has met my wife, and so that's just a little bit of that background. And right now he's working at an amazing steakhouse in Capitol Hill called Batu, and they do beautiful work.
I have 223. Okay. So it's going to be tight. Yeah. What portion sizes are you guys doing anyway? Because I figured, it's 5+ courses, so
It's a long food.
my shit's kind of small.
So I only got 1 ram, so it's turning out just a lot of food on the plate for mine.
Yeah.
I could I'm in the 8 ounce.
Is that what I'm using for the
cooked
consomme?
meat.
The chambers that I'm using.
Oh damn. Okay.
So
Those glasses up there.
I think.
Oh,
with very little
You're.
sauce, garnish, etc.
I had them out here earlier. They
I
must have
think-
moved somewhere
Or
else
just
on the
their
butt.
high profile stuff.
I am probably at about 6 to 8 ounces of pasta, and then I'm not sure about
Well, that's the filler.
everything else.
I know by the time they get to a waffle and some pasta,
They're
they're going to be like, oh!
They get one of these and a piece of duck, so it's small.
Okay.
I didn't want to
So I would say like
fill everyone up.
when you have 5, 6, 7 portions, like
Yeah.
they can only handle so much.
That's what I was thinking too, but I've been
Beer or cocktail or whatever they're having.
Now, Mike was correct. It was a lot of food. It was decadent. It was beautiful. I almost wanted to be a Roman and go tickle my throat so I could indulge some more. I show up there, 2 cocktails, a charcuterie plate, and a pickled plate, and that wasn't considered part of the meal. And the cocktail was a Manhattan with candied bacon. Oh, man, it was delicious, and it went down surprisingly smooth. And then I was like, okay, if I pace myself and I tell them to pour me little glasses, then I'll be fine. And then I, look up for a second, and boom, right in front of me is another Manhattan. And it was, woof. And then after sampling many charcuteries, and yes, I probably used that word incorrectly, but whatever, including a 14-month-old prosciutto, which was delicious from the shambles, and also a lamb prosciutto, which I haven't had before. And that wax, and I smelled it on my finger, that waxy fat just brought me back to a specific time in my career, and the smell and the tones of like a well-used aging walk-in. It was nostalgia in lamb form. It was weird. I didn't expect to get that experience. And then moving on to the duck confit that we talked about with the waffles, and then Tom and his braised beef shank ravioli, which was delicious. Then there was a palate cleanser, toasted rice sorbet with a kombucha shot. And then you could have that could have been a dessert right there, and then the meal could have been over. But wait, Mike from Central Smokes comes out with this whole ram cooked 3 ways, and it was amazing. And it was paired with 2 beers, which I didn't write down what kind they were, because I'm not really good at podcasting after 100,000 episodes or whatever. And then I forgot to mention that the duck came with a glass of wine, so that's 1, 2, 3, 5 drinks, and we still got 2 more courses to go. 2 cocktails, glass of wine, 2 beers. Yeah, so 5 drinks. By this point in the meal, the conversation's getting louder. People are talking over each other. It's amazing. I'm sitting across from this amazing lady, and I'm captivated because she works for the Cordon Bleu, and she's a violinist, and has this amazing life story. And I'm also hearing a conversation next to me about Legos and the Death Star Legos, and I'm like, wait, I know about that as well. And then I'm sitting next to Jeff, the person who provided the ram for this amazing dinner. And I just wanted to selfishly Zach Morris that shit, time out, and talk to each person individually. Or I guess it'd be more Evie from Out of This World, where I freeze time, and if I touch somebody, then they unfreeze, and then I could talk to them and give my full attention. Then Scott Johnson from the Shambles with that whole goat porchetta, which may be called a gochetta. I don't know. I was trying to be clever there. And it was delicious and amazing. And the dessert provided by the Shambles used whipped lardo, and it was very, very good. It's like a mousse. So back to that amazing.
Between this regular work at Bateau and then doing the Chefsteps, I've been fucking slammed. So I've had a chance to actually
Are you recording stuff there?
Yeah, we're doing a series of instructional videos where essentially I break down different things in unique ways. Mm-hmm. So the most boring thing is a brisket, which is just you got a point and a flat. That's what you get. Then breaking down a tenderloin and talking about club versus cannon versus tail. Mm-hmm. And then taking a full 107 and saying okay, you could use the lifter meat for stew meat, cut a cooked hoof, cut a boneless ribeye, and then it's okay, now we're going to cut a ribeye cap steak, we're going to cut Spencer steaks, what can we use all this trim for? And then the final video, which got canceled because of the snow, is breaking down an entire round. and then essentially so break a whole round down into all of its components, and then break the top round down into all of its muscles and talk about all those steaks. And then each one of these videos, it starts with me breaking down the meat, but then it's one of their chefs with a recipe for it. And so the recipe for the round is just deli meat from higher round and bottom round. But then of course I'll touch base, like you can do higher round steaks, you can do Western grillers, yada yada yada. So
Wow.
yeah, it is.
That's awesome.
And I didn't really consider, like, there's so much that we all do that is just common sense to us. So, like, we were doing the ribeye, and I was like, all right, so I got to face this here. And they're like, well, what's it facing? Oh, okay. They're like, well, what kind of knives are you using? And I'm like, well, it's a boning knife and a bullnose butcher knife, you know. And then just them recording, there's so much, like, starting and stopping, and I'm so used to getting in the groove and doing things as quickly and as accurately as possible, you know.
Yeah. It's like writing a recipe for a book. You can't just do like we do.
Hey,
Tom, good to meet you. Nice to meet you. You can't just do like we do and write the recipe. Like when you go and someone goes to test it, they're like I had that book that all the chefs put out, and I got 2 recipes in there, and they're calling me like for weeks, like, okay, what does this mean? What does this mean? How do you do this? And oh wait, that doesn't work. Like I'm like, I think of big batches. I think like it seems common sense to cut things a certain way. Like people do every little step.
It all needs to be like spelt out.
Yes.
And then you're doing that in front of like 4 people and 2 cameras and
lights.
I think it's weird because it's like I'm speaking to all you guys now. It's like okay, I'm looking at everybody, all right? Where I'm trying to do that on these videos, I feel like I'm being rude to the other people. And they're like, no, you go look at the fucking camera, man.
Yeah.
Like,
They put a sticker next to the camera, like, look right here.
Well, it's like I was doing that class today, and it was one of those things where I dropped one of them. I'm like, oh, this is spinalis dorsi. And they're like, oh, what's Latin for that? What's Latin for that?
Yeah.
What's Latin for that? I got most of them. I always forget the sirloin tips, but I got most of them.
So in the last time me and Tom spoke, he kind of like confused me with these Latin names for and I only knew some of them, but I started referencing all the subprimes that we get and breaking them down as small as I can, and then I got this bovine veterinarian site that I found. It's got every single muscle in Latin, and now I'm going through and putting names to the states. And, but it's really interesting because it tells you the density of the muscles. What all the different names for the muscles, and it's given me a really good knowledge of muscles I wasn't aware of. Like the serratus, the Denver steak, and how big that is. But when you look at it and then you look at the muscles that are underneath it, that one I was telling you about, the serratus ventralis, but underneath it is the serratus dorsalis, and it's like basically coats the ribs, and it's this like amazing piece of steak that I've not seen anywhere. But I want to use it.
My friend Ryan is really good in, really advocating for using Latin names as a threat, and like I'm just on the fence of like wanting to learn anything. So like when I was being trained by like these old school cutters who learned from the NAP guide, they'd be like, all right, just super green, what's this name? All right, give me another name. All right, let's say you're on the East Coast, let's say you're like, and then like when
Hell yeah.
and then when like I get something right, it just I'd be told like, no, keep going.
It's super interesting the way I actually see it is, the more you know about that stuff as a cook and a chef, it's beneficial for me to like I broke down the shank. There's so many little muscles in there, and this tells you exactly what these muscles do. And I don't get to work with whole cows on a daily basis.
Well, that's super interesting. Like when me and my friend Brian were going over like a cut sheet or something with someone else, and they're throwing out all these names that we didn't know, and like I was getting worried because I was like maybe I shouldn't be here. And then he's like, Don't worry.
My mum was a cook when I was growing up. So,
I really want to see your
cooking all my life, but professionally probably 10 years. You know, before that I was a plumber. I had a plumbing company in England. I lost a couple of people who were really close to me, and I kind of went off and did the things that I really wanted to do, and I got more drawn into cooking. And when I met my wife in Spain, and then eventually decided to move over here. I went to culinary school to get a visa.
Yeah.
The main wasn't great, but I mean, it's
To go to culinary school here in the States.
yeah, it was challenging, you know, especially when, without sounding big-headed, I had some knowledge, and then you got kids who were 16 who picked up a knife. And
Yeah, I don't know. I think culinary school, but like David, he always says that whenever he gets applicants from people who went to culinary school.
I heard him say that.
Yeah, and but if you had to do that to get a visa, then by all means, that's great.
Russ at Rain Shadow gave me the job like under the table pretty much, and I was working up there.
Feeling it later.
That's what I started learning the whole animal stuff, you know. I mean, I've only been doing whole animals for 5 years. I mean, I think I'm fine at it, and I can cut cows and pig, but I see you doing your stuff, I'm like, it's got some skills there that I'd love to get up to, you know.
Yeah, but mine's just
I think it'll be good.
reps.
Right.
But you put me in
I'll find it for you.
you put me in a line like in the kitchen or something like that. I have no idea what I'm gonna do. But if you give me a cut sheet and say, hey, go turn that on this, it's like, all right, I'll be like a duck and walk.
Yeah.
Or a duck and confit.
Duck in concrete, indeed.
Just like a duck in confit. Sorry if you couldn't really listen to that because there were multiple conversations happening. That's what happens when you record a social event and you don't want to be like, hey, everybody on this side of the room, stop talking, because I have a bi-directional recorder and it's picking up everyone. But I think if you listen to that segment twice, then you could appreciate both conversations that are happening. And I just want to thank everyone who was involved. Some of the people you didn't hear on the show was Smitty, who is the head chef at the Shambles. And please follow him on Instagram at Schmitty Platt. There's no E. So at SEAMUSPLATT. And he is the head chef at the Shambles. Just type that in to Instagram. It comes up as at Deli Meat Bar. And that's where this event was held. And it was fucking amazing. Also, who you didn't hear in the audio that deserves recognition is Bob Blade, creator and owner of Salt Blade. So please check them out on Instagram, Salt Blade Meats. And yeah, and then also the amazing staff at the Shambles. And, you know, thanks for their hospitality. It was awesome. And if I would have drinking all the alcohol they would have given me, I think I would have probably, you know, blacked out. Or, you know, as I like to call it, time travel. But no, it's not the 90s anymore, and I couldn't drink and drive, and I lived too far away to have an Uber, so I had to show discipline and control to politely decline. And then just got filled up on amazing food. And I truly am looking forward to the second annual Gathering of the Butchers. And a big thanks to everyone who was involved. It was amazing. And now for the administrative work of the Meat Block Podcast. If you want to support the show, the best way to do that is by leaving a comment, and please leave a review. And if you want to get a hold of me, I'm at American Butcher on Instagram. If you want to get a hold of the show, you could email us, themeatblockpodcast at gmail.com. And until next time, keep your knife sharp and live in the margin.